Wait, this song is, oh man, this song is fire. You'll never, okay, anyways. Okay. Prediction time. Low key though, there's honestly a lot in this fight that we probably gonna expect to see low key. Bro, that song is a big thing. Anyways, so what was it? Let me think now. First and foremost, right? The biggest theory to put into perspective of this, of course, is the whole tower heart mechanic thing, whatever you want to call it. So, let me see. Call Me Honey's the AoE. Got that. And then, ooh, twist? I kinda sorta expect this fight mechanic to give me like an in and an out. Because what is it? We have ourselves the in and then the line. There's no out and there's no like cross and no like, you know what I mean? So I kind of expect there to be multiple variations of that ability, and or at least it has like a follow-up to it, sort of thing. So like if the circle has like a big stack in the middle, I feel like this will have 2 stacks on the side, so it kind of forces a split sort of thing. The tank buster, I kind of expect for it to just be what it is normally, so we don't have to really worry too much about that. No, thank you. So I don't think we'll really expect a lot of differences for that mechanic with the tank buster, at least. So we'll keep that kind of as it is. Or there could be like a follow-up, but I don't expect it to be. It's going to be very clear that you don't cleave it. Now, the thing that kind of throws me off is how she has it like more than once. So I think similar to M1, where the mechanic has like a follow-up, it could be like a variational amount of follow-ups. So like, we'll see what we do with that. But then, of course, we have ourselves the Honeybee Live mechanic, which is definitely like the mechanic that's going to be the wall of this fight. So I kind of expect this one to... I expect this one to be the mechanic that like destroys a lot of things. So, the one thing about this mechanic that is not really displayed in it as well is the music kind of like gets a little silent, like how it is right now. A little bit, right? So I kind of expect that to kind of like play in a weird sense of it all too. But yeah, the heart mechanic though, this is gonna be, it's very clear that like you cannot get 3, because like right now when you get the 3, you get like the infatuation, so you can't move for like 10 seconds. You definitely don't just do that in the Savage version. I think you like explode low key. So I expect this to have some kind of thing to it. Like it has like an out, so I feel like the in will be the follow-up. Now, I actually did my research. I went around and actually did the research. I found out about this, and it actually is a factual thing, as far as my brain's aware. If I don't know, then please let me know. I don't know a single raid, not trial, but like a single raid that has the mechanic where all the stuff is like happening in the moment. So the fact that this raid, the normal version, has this mechanic already occurring, and they're going to imply it in the Savage version somehow, is kind of nuts, actually. Like, again, like the easiest example I can think of with this is in Byakko Trial. They have that as an example of it, but I don't really know if there's like a raid that applies that kind of chaosness to it. So if this is the first raid to actually incorporate that I can think of, that's kind of nuts, actually. I expect it to be really, really insane across the board. And again, on top of all that too, I kind of think they're going to combine that heart mechanic thing with the towers, because they kind of have it separated for the most part. I actually do expect them to combine them in some way, shape, and form. The blow kiss mechanic, of course, same thing as well. They'll kind of just throw it out there in the middle of like stuff happening, and it is like a big avoid thing. I can also see there being like a, I don't know, because am I weird to think that like because there's so much like infatuation with Honeybee Lovely that there might be like an adverse version where it's like a hatred kind of thing? So I feel like, I don't think so though. I kind of just expect them to just forcibly give you like 3 hearts, and then you just can't get 0 or 3. Not 0 because like it's not possible, but because like you kind of mess up the mechanic if you don't get hearts, with how they kind of force you to like deal with towers and spreads and stacks and that kind of thing, because pretty much anything that happens during this arena change gives you hearts, pretty much, right? So we'll see. It'd be very interesting to see them combine that mechanic with the live performance with the whole like Venom thing as well, because she does eventually like enhance her abilities by infusing it with bee venom, which is like also kind of insane. So yeah, with this mechanic and the whole, like, this is kind of when they give you the example of it, right? Like when she does in, then, or the line, then the splotches of the pollen kind of end up everywhere, and then it kind of forces you to move in a certain kind of position. And I think there's literally just enough spots to give 8 spaces, so they're gonna kind of forcibly incorporate that in some way, shape, and form. I'm assuming. So we'll see how that kind of applies itself. But the circle one is actually kind of worse because the middle is completely just unsafe. So you kind of sort of have to, you know, if they kind of combine the spread with that mechanic like they do in this, you'll literally die if you try to, like, you know, soak the bee pollen at the same time as you deal with the either the spread or the stack. Like, even with this mechanic too, like, you will just die if you, because it gives you a poison resistance down, so it's guaranteed to kill people if you literally don't do it correctly. So I expect it to be very punishing as a result. Now, of course, we have ourselves probably what is the most obnoxious mechanic in the normal version for a lot of players. And it's not even this variant too, because there's 3 different variants. You have the ones where they kind of individually have you go in direction or whatever. Then there's the one where they do like a full cleave across sort of thing. So during this part at least, I expect there to either be like a buddy system or like a big spread. And you definitely have to use both sides of the arena. So keeping the boss in the middle is very important. Then you have this variant where there's 5 bees and they kind of split the arena into 2 pies, right? And again, buddy stacks. This follow-up mechanic makes total sense to me too. So you gotta, you know, obviously get out of the way, and then there's a follow-up if there is a Venom version 2 as well. So that's kind of the big issue with this whole normal version, is that you don't really see a lot of the mechanics that she's using use the Venom. So a lot of the Venom stuff that we have not seen will be the thing that kind of applies itself in the fight overall. So I expect that to happen very frequently. I won't be surprised if, like, the first mechanic she rips out is the Venom enhancement and then just starts slinging AoEs all over the place. I kind of sort of just expect that to happen, like, realistically speaking. Now the hearth mechanic though, I feel like there's a trick to this mechanic that we have not seen that we will see in the 7th version that goes beyond seeing, like, you know, obviously they appear in 8 places, so each person has to, like, soak a tower sort of thing. But I'd be surprised if there's not like the tower is like 1 big heart. It'd be interesting to see it split into like 4 or 2 hearts or 3 hearts, and then you kind of, like, you know, have to adjust as it is as well. So I feel like they've gotten a lot more freedom with mechanical survivability and, like, affectation of mechanics too. So I think we can expect this fight to be, like, very, very painful for a lot of people, myself included, because to just literally dodge bullet hell like this is pretty scary. Like, I won't even argue about it. So, but I think this song is just so good, and I think the fight will follow suit with it as well. I don't know, I kind of just want her to be, I would like for her to be a very, very difficult fight. Like, I want them to kind of crank it up to 11 in terms of difficulty, and then when we get to M3, we'll talk about it even further, right? But I don't know. I think people are expecting this fight to be the hardest fight because the normal version is difficult. But I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like not like a red herring, but, like, you know, when like it seems like it's too good to be true. I don't expect this fight to be harder than the 3rd fight, but I could be wrong. I feel like it might be still very hard to deal with, nonetheless, though. So, and then of course, same thing with this mechanic, right? Like, this is the other variation of the bees kind of, like, flying everywhere, because the bees target individual people. So you either have to, like, set it up, and the timing for it changes based off of who sits where. So I almost wonder if you have to, like, set it up somehow, because, like, there's no, everyone's kind of just running frantically, right? So you either have to move before the bee, like, shoots and force it to kind of go across the middle. I can see that being a thing. I can also see there being some crazy, like, uptime mechanic where, like, you have to like, again, like, guide the bee to shoot the outside of the arena to force the inside to be safe. I can see that also being a thing. So you kind of have a lot to work with when it comes to that. Can confirm people are running around frantically. I mean, yeah, the panic in that mechanic is so realistically true. It's just, there's really not much you can deal with except for just, like, pray and run, you know? So So we'll see, but I do expect it to just mess up a lot of people if they keep it that frantic and insane the majority of the fight. So I think that's actually the big gist of it, though, for the most part. So I don't really know. Like, again, I think that there's mechanics that we have not seen at all that will be in this fight, but it occurs during moments in the fight that we've already seen before. So when she does the whole performance change, there's definitely something that's going to happen during this specific moment, and there's going to be some kind of insane chaos. Like, the bees could be involved in this too when they kind of zip across the room sort of thing, you know? But I don't know. I kind of just expect them to go a little crazy with it. It'll still be kind of organized in a sense, but I do expect them to get really chaotic with it, especially during this mechanic too. This is probably, I'm kind of fingers crossing that this is the hardest mechanic in terms of application of damage, but also even like uptime, because you literally have to figure out how to dodge all of this. And I still, to this moment, I don't really even know the pattern for how to survive or like avoid the stuff that goes on with it. All I know is like, I just try to, what I do know though is, here's what I can tell you for sure. The big AoEs occur on the outside because it's part of the Love Seeker thing. The inner ones though are baited under people's hitboxes. So like, it might work if people are like all together and you can kind of control where they go, or you have everyone spread out in their own sectional area and kind of like force people to deal with the AoEs. Like, healers in range will make it easier if they're on the outside, and have the melees kind of control the space on the inside. That way they can continue their uptiming, because otherwise you're going to deal with so much uptime during this fight, and it's going to be pretty insane actually. So I kind of just expect this fight to be very, like I said, I expect it to be very, 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 very chaotic. In the best way for him, though. Like, I am actually really, really excited for it, so. Hey, there you go. There's M2. We check out M3, R3, whatever people are calling it. I don't know. But we check out the raid tier for the 5th fight very shortly, so. I hope everyone looks forward to this fight, like, low-key. This fight is super fun, and again, the fight song is such a bop. It's probably, like, my favorite song. Like, it's just like you hear that? It's so good, dude. I love the song. That's all I can say to it. The fight will be incredible, though, so I'm looking forward to it.